Russ played 13 years in Boston. He won 5 MVPs, made the All-Star team 12 times, led the Celtics to 11 NBA titles, but he was more than just that. I think if you looked at the sum of his parts, then you saw a great basketball player. But as far as his skill level, different. And, not as refined as we see with other big men or players now. Limited as far as dribbling goes, went to his left a lot, wasn't a great shooter. But his ability to understand the moment, what do I need to do to make this team better? And the fact that he won 2 titles as a player coach, that's how much respect he had with his team. That Red Auerbach turned the team over to Bill Russell. And he's in the Hall of Fame as a coach and a player. And the first black head coach to win a championship. But as I said in the first hour, but I'll reiterate this, study up on Bill Russell. Because I could tell you stats or I could show you video, but it's not about highlights. Bill Russell was not about highlights. His highlights had to do with life and what was important to him. He was good at basketball, but I think there are other things that were far more important. He wanted social justice. He wanted equality. There were times when, the African-American players couldn't stay in the same hotel. They couldn't eat at the same diner. These were things that Bill Russell was a great basketball player and then also had to deal with this, like real life issues. And even in his, adopted town there of Boston, had moments that were, you would think maybe a visiting player might experience something when you hear what happened. When somebody broke into his house, used the N-word, put the N-word on, he tore up a pool table. Somebody had defecated in his bed. This is in Boston. And granted, we don't know how many people felt this way, but he was a star player. They won titles because of him. So sometimes it's like Jackie Robinson. When you go, well, his stats aren't that great. Oh, imagine every day you go to a game and people hate you. People want to kill you. Your teammates don't like you. Some teammates don't want to play with you. So you go to the game, and that's how you start your day. And I think Bill Russell, to do what he did, how he did it, how he carried himself is another thing. Jackie Robinson carried himself a certain way because he had to. Or at least it was best not to incite and make this any worse than it was. But Bill Russell wasn't afraid. He was there. He understood Martin Luther King. He wanted to be there. That was more important than basketball was. And I think when you think of Bill Russell, read about Bill Russell. It wasn't just the championships, because he won in high school, he won in college, he won in the NBA, he won in the Olympics. But he was so much more than that. And he was one of those personalities that I didn't get to interview him. I didn't get to see him play in person, but I was around him. And all I did is watch. I was at an NBA event, and I just watched him. And I couldn't wait to hear his laugh, because it was an infectious laugh. There was no other laugh like it. And I loved hearing that. Because there's part of, you see somebody's face, and it's a roadmap to their life. And who knows what he endured and how it affected him. But he was being honored at an NBA event. He was up there with Shaq and Alonzo Mourning, Dikembe Mutombo, Kareem. And they're giving Bill an award. And there's a pause. And I think people thought, oh, gosh, Bill up there in years, not embarrass yourself, And then Russell looks at all these big men. And he starts pointing at all of them. And then he goes, I would have kicked every one of your asses. And everybody in the audience just loved it. Got a standing ovation. So read about Bill Russell. Today is not the day to watch highlights of him. Today should be a day to understand really who the man was, not just a basketball player.